Hey y'all, I'm just coming in with a little intro to before I start my new episode. I believe it's episode number 39. So I welcome you back to Charm City Decoded. I am your host, Sophia Turner. And my little intro involves a little history lesson on affirmative action. Affirmative action was first in place from starting in 1863 to 1877. Okay? It went into the deconstruction period after the Civil War ended. So that's the first period of it. And then also back in 1961, John F. Kennedy, he also signed an executive order on affirmative action. And then we got in 1965, we have Lyndon B. Johnson, who also signed an executive order that superseded John F. Kennedy's executive order on affirmative action. So affirmative action has been out there because we know that, of course, black folks have been underrepresented for a long time. So let's go on with the episode. I'll see you soon.
Mom and Dad's only daughter, do I make you proud? Writing my life in lyrics, do you like the sound? Seeking.
Hello out there. This is Charm City Decoded. I am your host, Sophia Turner, and I welcome you all back to a new episode. So come join in the fun and let's have a good discussion. And our topic today is going to be about the controversy on affirmative action. So I definitely want some feedback on this particular topic. So we're going to have a nice discussion. Well, let me say I'm going to talk to y'all out there, and hopefully y'all going to write some comments and let me know what is your thoughts on it so we can continue the discussion, okay? So let's get started. And first, before we get started, wait a minute. Would y'all like my shirt? Look at this. Stumbling is not, it says, Malcolm X, stumbling is not falling. Remember that. That's important. Stumbling is not falling. Okay? So let's get into the topic. All right, we're going to talk about affirmative action. Now, the question is, what is affirmative action? So, I'm going to give you the book version, the law version, on what affirmative action is. Okay? Affirmative action is a policy initiative in which a person's nationality, sex, religion, and caste, which is it's spelled CASTE, and it's basically a class that you would put in, whether it's a rich class or poor class. It's basically a class. That's how I look at caste. Okay, and it says are taken into account by a company or a government organization to extend employment. That's what affirmative action means, okay? So let's go into it further. The hot topic, the controversy, is centered around SCOTUS. Now, SCOTUS, of course, is the Supreme Court of the United States. Okay? That's what SCOTUS is. And their decision on affirmative action is, at the end of its term, the Supreme Court ended, established equal protection law with its decision in SFFA versus Harvard and SFFA versus UNC, effectively eliminating the use of affirmative action in college admissions. Now, You want to know how does this decision affects black people or non-white people or anyone affirmative action has brought into scope that has, they call it, what they call it? Let me see. Let me go into it. They call it unrepresented, people who are unrepresented or women. That's who's supposed to benefit it from affirmative action. Okay? Now, it says, in the workforce, policies designed to promote hiring underrepresented groups. In college, it can mean extra consideration for underrepresented students. Historically, students of color had historically been excluded. Y'all get that? Historically, black people have been excluded. Black students have been excluded when it comes down to universities, colleges, any of those prestigious institutions for higher education. So that's why, of course, affirmative action was created in the first place to give us some type of standing in this society that we live in called the United States, where we have an equal chance of getting admitted into a university, or we have an equal chance of getting hired with a company. So that's what it's for. That's what it's supposed to be for. So So they said, did it allow, my question is, did affirmative action allow the playing field to be on an equal footing? Okay? And when it comes down to, of course, school admissions, workplace hiring, promotions, housing. I mean, I added housing in there. It's not supposed to be about housing, but to me, affirmative action is affirmative action, right? You're trying to put everything on, where all of us are supposed to be on the same playing field, where we all have an opportunity to progress and make something more of ourselves in our lives, right? So I added a house part, but it's really about school, school admissions and workplace, right? So, and what it says is, it says that who benefited most was white women. White women, and I quote, who benefit the most from affirmative action in the United States? White women benefited the greatest from affirmative action policies from college campuses to the American workplace per scholars. Okay? It says they are more educated and make up a bigger slice of the workforce as a result of decades of affirmative action policies. White women have also made inroads into corporate leadership that people of color and women of color have not. And this was per the writer Jamie Frazier of USA Today. And let's speak a little bit about legacy. What is legacy admissions into colleges or universities? Okay? And this is coordinating with, this kind of goes with affirmative action, because when you say you want to get rid of something that has benefited a class of people, because if it wasn't for this policy being in place, they would not have had the opportunity. But then you look over here at legacy admissions. And legacy admissions is, according to a 2022 article published by the AP, which is the Associated Press, Legacy admissions, also known as legacy preferences, refers to a decades-old tradition of giving college applicants who are children of an alumnus or alumni of the same school a boost in their application. Now, I'm going to tell you what that say to me. This is my opinion, okay? It wasn't based on merit or scholastic qualified to be admitted into this prestigious or these prestigious schools. At best, most of them legacies were mediocre. They really would not have qualified to be admitted into a lot of those schools, those prestigious schools, and I use air quotes, if it wasn't for who their parents was, who their grandparents was. And the majority of them, of course, are whom? Whites. You understand? So that's the contrast. But they want to get rid of affirmative action because they say it shouldn't be race-based. But the whole point of affirmative action was to make sure you acknowledge that just because they black, that don't mean they don't have merit. That don't mean they don't belong. That don't mean that they not intelligent enough to attend these schools. So that's what affirmative action really supposed to do, supposed to have done, and continue to do. Because certain policies have to be written for things to change, for things to come to light, for us to be better. Because the old wasn't working. We was excluded. Black folks were. We was considered uneducated. Don't have enough brain power to even be able to, be attending these schools, these universities. But it has been proven time and time again that we have it. Look at Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. That's proven that we have it, right? We have that brain power. Look at how, to me, one of our great leaders, our Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris. Look at Thurgood Marshall, one of the greatest justices that ever lived, that ever served on the Supreme Court Justice of the United States. And I can go on and on, of course. There's a lot of great minds out here. So the reason why they put affirmative action in place, no, it shouldn't be just because of your race. But if my race is the reason why I'm not being admitted, then give me that fair playing ground. So look at my race. Let me know that I deserve this chance just like anybody else. Black or white, Asian, Mexican, Latino, it doesn't matter. We all deserve a chance at bettering our lives and our families' lives and our communities. That's the whole point of educating your mind, body, and soul. Knowledge and wisdom goes hand in hand when it comes down to trying to break chains and bettering lives. I look at what all the things that they have that has been in the news when it comes down to race in America. When it comes down to racism. They started, with CRT, critical race theory, which was only basically taught at universities, at the School of Laws, when it comes down to how racism has affected black people in America. All the contributions that black folks have made to the society for it to be one of the strongest, dominant societies in the world. You know, they want to ban that. When it comes down to wokeism, they think wokeism, you might as well say they call wokeism is being black. If you're a black person, then we want to get rid of that. Wokeism, of course, is supposed to be about you being aware of what's going on. You know, where you understand that you are important too as a black person, just like anyone else. Your family tree, your heritage also has blood on this land, just like other folks. History and heritage has blood on this land. The sweat and these soils that has been worked on in centuries past. Or now affirmative action. What do you think all of this means? Because I know it has one thing in common. Who does this affect? Black people. So, us black people, what we going to do about this? I can name one thing that could help to challenge and protect by putting people in office who stand for what you stand for. Voting is important. Voting is coming back up again, y'all. It's coming back up in 2024. We are now in August of 2023. We need to get it right. We need to get it right. The ones that's not for us, get them out the office. Get them out. Push them out. Elect someone in office who is for us. Who is for the betterment of this country. Who is for the betterment of humanity. Who can push for certain laws to be in place that will protect the unrepresented, as they call us. Right? Underrepresented. I'm sorry. It's underrepresented. So we need all of us to come together as a unit. You know, one unit. Form that unity to break down walls. When it comes down to the laws that did a lot of damage to us as a whole, as a race, as to this country. And that goes for not just black folks. That also goes for poor white folks or even middle class white folks, because a lot of laws that you think is only going to affect us affect you too. So stop voting against your own self. You know what you represent. Because the ones that's in office now, those multi-millionaires, they not representing you. They representing their pocketbooks, their wallets. How to keep that flow of money and power in place for the white folks. Meaning the rich white folks. Just keep that in mind. And I'm saying this with my chest. My opinion, my thoughts, my podcast. So, my First Amendment right. So just understand that. Let's all try to work together, because we can get more accomplished together than apart. This is Charm City Decoded. I am your host, Sophia Turner, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Happy Tuesday, everyone.